25 misunderstood 1970s cars that are better than you remember. The 1970s brought radical changes to the automotive world. Bold designs, fuel crises, and stricter regulations reshaped the industry. While some cars were dismissed at the time, many have aged into classics that collectors now appreciate. Join us as we take a fresh look at these once ignored 70s vehicles that have gained newfound respect. Ready to rediscover them? Let's jump in. AMC The Quirky Gremlin. The AMC Gremlin sported one of the 70s most offbeat looks. Some folks called it just plain weird. Picture a standard car with the trunk sawed clean off, leaving a blunt, almost awkward rear. But this funky design wasn't an accident. AMC, being a smaller player with less cash, cleverly raided the parts bin instead of engineering a totally new vehicle, cooking up something distinctive. Underneath that unique skin, the Gremlin wasn't exactly a speed demon, let's be honest. Quickness wasn't its game, and it didn't handle like a sports car either. Then again, most budget hatchbacks from that time weren't exactly track stars. What it did provide, surprisingly, was decent room inside for a car its size. It hit the market as a wallet-friendly, gas-sipping choice when fuel costs started pinching American wallets hard. Practicality aside, the Gremlin got knocked for iffy dependability and sometimes slapdash construction quality back then. AMC itself was navigating choppy financial waters, and the car kind of showed it. Fast forward to today, though, and this odd little hatch has gathered a dedicated fanbase. Now, mint-condition Gremlins are sought-after collectibles, pulling down serious money at auction, a future almost nobody saw coming. Chevy's troubled Vega. Chevrolet's history boasts some absolute automotive icons, but let's face it, the Vega isn't usually on that list. Rolled out in the early 70s, it was GM's shot at the growing market for smaller, fuel-efficient rides. Sadly, it mostly became famous for the wrong things and reliability, a tendency to rust quickly, and an aluminum engine prone to overheating issues. For many who owned one, the Vega turned into quite a persistent headache. But hold on, not every aspect of the Vega was a total lost cause. Its styling, maybe not revolutionary then, actually looks pretty decent these days, giving off real 1970s vibes in the classic car scene. Plus, the Vega's light frame and rear-wheel drive made it tempting for car tinkerers wanting to drop in beefier, stronger engines. It quickly found favor with hot rodders who spotted its potential as an affordable starting point for a performance build. Despite its rocky start, the Vega has certainly found its own little corner in the collector's universe. Thanks to a passionate community keeping these cars on the road, you'll definitely spot Vegas nowadays, either meticulously restored or heavily customized, strutting their stuff at car shows. Ford's fiery Pinto. The Ford Pinto represented a significant pivot for the automaker, signaling a move towards smaller, more gas-conscious cars. Before the oil shocks of the 70s, American cars were largely about bulk, horsepower, and making a statement. But soaring gas prices and efficient Japanese imports hitting showrooms forced Detroit to adjust its game plan. Enter the Pinto, Ford's contender aimed at the need for a compact, affordable car to battle foreign rivals. On the drawing board, it looked like a solid plan. The car was light, cheap, and offered reasonable mileage. Unfortunately, the Pinto's name became forever linked with one of the auto industry's major controversies. A critical design weakness placed the fuel tank where it was extremely susceptible during rear-end impacts. If struck from behind with enough force, the tank could split open and ignite, resulting in devastating accidents. Ford's reported decision to put off a fix, citing costs, led to lawsuits, massive recalls, and permanently tarnished the Pinto's image. Even with that dark chapter, the Pinto enjoys a second act among collectors and custom car enthusiasts today. Some folks have transformed them into drag strip terrors by shoehorning in huge V8 engines, demonstrating that even notorious cars can find their place in car culture. The bubble-shaped Pacer. Around the same time as the Gremlin, AMC rolled out another daringly different hatchback for the 1970s, the Pacer. With gas prices shooting sky high, American car companies were forced to get creative with their designs. The Pacer was AMC's effort to stay competitive as the market leaned towards smaller, fuel-sipping rides. Truly unlike anything else around, it featured a distinctive fishbowl shape with enormous glass areas, looking almost space-age next to its boxier contemporaries. Hatchbacks were still somewhat novel in the States, but gaining popularity due to their usefulness and better airflow. The Pacer aimed squarely at capitalizing on that emerging trend. It was wide but short, providing ample interior space while keeping gas usage fairly modest. Its radical appearance, however, definitely split opinions. Some admired its forward-thinking style, while others just found it plain strange. Sadly, the Pacer didn't achieve the breakout success AMC desperately needed. Sales figures were disappointing, and its innovative spirit ultimately couldn't rescue the struggling manufacturer. These days, the Pacer has cultivated a loyal cult following, especially appealing to collectors who dig its unconventional charm. Although AMC eventually became part of Chrysler, the Pacer stands as an intriguing artifact from an era when carmakers dared to gamble big to survive. Mustang II Cobra, style over speed. The Ford Mustang is practically royalty in American muscle car lore, yet even this legend wasn't spared the harsh realities of the 1970s. Climbing gas costs and tougher emissions rules forced Ford to drastically alter the Mustang recipe. The outcome was the Mustang II, a sharp turn away from the powerful pony cars people loved. Instead of a brawny, performance-focused beast, it was smaller, sharing its underpinnings with the Pinto, a decision that rubbed many longtime Mustang buffs the wrong way. Trying to inject some flair, Ford launched the Cobra II, a visually sporty trim featuring bold stripes, a non-functional hood scoop, and spoilers. Regrettably, those aggressive looks didn't pack much punch under the hood. Hamstrung by emission controls, the Cobra II's available V8 felt like a pale imitation of the roaring engines that defined earlier Mustangs. While not an awful car overall, it just lacked the raw muscle enthusiasts expected. Do you own or remember driving any of these classics? Share your story. Plymouth's imported Sapporo. During the 1970s, Japanese car brands were quickly capturing American market share, leaving domestic companies scrambling. Cue the Plymouth Sapporo, essentially a Mitsubishi Galant Lambda wearing Plymouth badges, brought over to challenge the hugely successful Toyota Corolla. On paper, it looked like a decent contender, compact, fuel-conscious, and equipped with a silent shaft four-cylinder engine engineered for smooth running. In practice, however, the Sapporo had trouble making a real impression on buyers. That engine, though clever, felt burdened by the era's emission regulations, which stifled its output significantly. It didn't quite match the dependability or polish of its Japanese competitors, making it a harder choice for consumers already leaning towards Toyota or Honda. Inside, the Sapporo was straightforward and practical, but it didn't really bring anything exceptionally appealing to the table. Plymouth tried sprucing it up, but fundamentally, it was just another small car swimming in a very crowded pool. Though largely forgotten for years, the Sapporo is finding some love lately among gearheads who value its unique spot in Plymouth's timeline. With its retro looks and rear-wheel drive setup, some collectors now view it as an overlooked find, ready for customization or restoration. Chevy's humble Chevette. Hardly any car in Chevrolet's long history has drawn as much mockery as the little Chevette. When it appeared mid-decade, potential buyers were puzzled. Why would General Motors, famous for muscular V8s and big family sedans, release such a basic, low-power compact? The Chevette was intended as a cheap, gas-saving option during the fuel crisis, but it honestly didn't excel in many areas. It certainly wasn't quick, nor was it the absolute king of fuel economy. And thanks to its Spartan interior and missing modern conveniences, it wasn't winning comfort competitions either. Still, despite its limitations, the Chevette managed a remarkably long production life, hanging around for more than 10 years as Chevy's entry-level choice. A lot of these cars were simply driven until they dropped, falling victim to rust or engine trouble. But in a strange turn of events, the Chevette has attracted a niche group of fans more recently. Because so few survived in decent shape, collectors are starting to see it as a fascinating relic from a different time. Finding a clean, low-mileage Chevette today is quite unusual, making it a quirky conversation piece representing the simpler, budget-focused side of 1970s motoring. Volvo's bold 262C Coupe. Volvo has always built its reputation on sturdy, safety-first sedans and wagons. But in the late 70s, the company made a daring leap into the luxury coupe arena with the 262C. Created alongside the Italian design house Bertone, this stylish two-door aimed to challenge premium European makes like Mercedes-Benz. It boasted a chopped roofline, a fancy leather interior, and a unique look quite different from anything Volvo had done previously. Car reviewers initially lauded its solid construction and sophisticated feel, but loyal Volvo customers weren't entirely sold. The familiar practical, boxy Volvo look was gone, replaced by something much more dramatic, and sales consequently lagged. Despite a cool initial reception, the 262C has actually aged quite gracefully, design-wise. Its distinct appearance is now seen as proof of Volvo's readiness to step outside its comfort zone, and collectors have definitely noticed. While it might not have topped sales charts back then, the 262C marks a key moment in Volvo's past, showing the brand could offer more than just safe family haulers. Mercury's Pinto twin, the Bobcat. The Mercury Bobcat was pretty much just a Ford Pinto wearing slightly nicer clothes. But that association couldn't shield it from the firestorms surrounding its sibling. Introduced in the mid-70s as Mercury's shot at a more premium compact car, the Bobcat shared almost everything mechanical with the Pinto, including that infamous fuel tank design, making it a safety concern. Although Mercury added small cosmetic updates like a different grille, better trim pieces, and extra chromite, just couldn't escape the Pinto's controversial reputation. Performance-wise, the Bobcat didn't exactly thrill anyone either. Its little four-cylinder engines provided rather pokey acceleration, and its road manners weren't anything special. Going up against well-made, fuel-efficient imports arriving from Japan, the Bobcat found it tough to win over customers. Mercury pitched it as a more polished choice, but since the differences from the Pinto were so minor, buyers largely remained unconvinced. At a time when the Mercury brand itself was already struggling for a clear identity, the Bobcat certainly didn't help matters. Despite its troubled history, the Bobcat is a scarce find on roads today. The ones that managed to survive are now mainly cherished by collectors who appreciate their somewhat peculiar place in automotive history. The extravagant Stutz Blackhawk. The Stutz Blackhawk was utterly unique, flashy, flamboyant, and completely unapologetic about its success. Debuting in 1970, it was a hand-built luxury coupe aimed at the fabulously rich, featuring things like deep shag carpets, gold-plated interior accents, and a trunk-mounted spare tire, giving it a truly regal air. Based on a Pontiac Grand Prix chassis and propelled by a hefty big block V8, the Blackhawk wasn't merely for show, it possessed the power to match its opulent style. Regardless of its grandeur, the Blackhawk had a hard time finding buyers. Its astronomical price tag combined with the arrival of the 70s fuel crisis made it a difficult proposition. Nevertheless, it became a favorite among stars like Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and Dean Martin, who clearly valued its sheer exclusivity. Chrysler's Plush Cordoba. Launched in 1975, the Chrysler Cordoba marked the company's first real dive into the popular personal luxury coupe segment. Known for its iconic, rich Corinthian leather seats, thanks, Ricardo Montalban, opera windows, and generally upscale appearance, the Cordoba aimed to deliver a classy experience without a huge price tag. Initially, the strategy paid off. Chrysler sold hundreds of thousands, boosted significantly by that very memorable advertising campaign featuring the suave actor. However, underneath that fashionable sheet metal, the Cordoba often grappled with build quality problems, uninspired performance, and questionable long-term reliability. As the decade progressed, stricter emission standards and rising gas prices further weakened its power output, leading buyers to seek out more refined options. By the start of the 1980s, the Cordoba had largely faded from the spotlight. AMC Sleeper Hornet 360. The AMC Hornet 360 represented a gutsy move to infuse some real performance into what was basically an economy car platform. Introduced early in the decade, the Hornet was AMC's competitor to cars like the Chevy Nova and Ford Maverick, but it had a secret weapon in available 360 cubic inch V8 engine that gave it genuine muscle car chops. Despite its compact dimensions, the Hornet 360 could really move, offering surprisingly quick acceleration and solid power at an affordable sticker price. Unfortunately, AMC's ongoing challenges with brand awareness and nagging reliability concerns prevented the Hornet from achieving widespread popularity. While the Chevrolet Nova sold like hotcakes, the Hornet largely remained an underappreciated alternative. Nowadays, though, this car is definitely getting more attention from enthusiasts, with many choosing to drop in modern V8s for even greater performance. The Hornet 360 might not have been a showroom star, but it's a bona fide hidden treasure in the realm of sleeper muscle cars. The stylish Dart Swinger. The 1970 Dodge Dart Swinger was Dodge's pitch to younger buyers wanting a compact car with both style and performance. As part of the legendary Mopar muscle car family, the Swinger caught eyes with its sharp lines, optional cool vinyl roof covering, and ready-to-rumble posture. But the real magic was often under the hood. Buyers could choose anything from a dependable slant-six engine up to a seriously potent 340 V8, turning this lightweight into a formidable street machine. Even with its performance potential, the Dart Swinger faced headwinds from increasing fuel costs and shifting tastes among car buyers later in the decade. Time, however, has treated this often overlooked muscle car quite well. Today, the 1970 Dart Swinger is a highly desirable classic, with Mopar fans actively searching out and restoring these fantastic hidden gems. Chevy's car truck, El Camino. When the Chevrolet El Camino first appeared, it was definitely a head-turner, part cool muscle car, part handy pickup truck, and totally unconventional. Although it always had a dedicated group of fans, the general public never fully embraced its hybrid nature during its heyday. The somewhat tight cabin and limited hauling practicality made it a harder sell against traditional pickups, while serious muscle car fans often skipped it for a Chevelle or Camaro. Despite its unique looks and powerful SS versions available, the El Camino just wasn't a massive sales success back then. However, the passage of time has been incredibly good to the El Camino. Once seen as an interesting but underappreciated experiment, it has blossomed into a seriously sought-after collectible vehicle today. Restorers, hot rod builders, and folks driven by nostalgia are eagerly buying them up, pushing their values significantly higher. With that unmistakable profile and the capability to hold serious V8 power, the El Camino is finally getting its due as a true automotive icon. GMC's El Camino cousin, Sprint. For a short period in the early 1970s, GMC tested the waters of the passenger car world with the Sprint, which was, for all intents and purposes, a twin to the Chevrolet El Camino. Featuring only slight variations in badges, the front grille look, and trim details, the Sprint was positioned as a slightly more work-oriented option within GMC's predominantly truck-focused dealerships. Unfortunately, it never achieved the same level of fame or recognition as its Chevy sibling, resulting in lower production numbers before it was eventually phased out. While the El Camino went on to become a cult favorite muscle car, the Sprint mostly drifted into automotive obscurity until relatively recently. Collectors and car enthusiasts have started to recognize its comparative rarity, causing its value to gradually increase. As prices for classic El Caminos continue to climb, more people are discovering the Sprint as an equally attractive and performance-ready alternative. Whether brought back to factory condition or built into a mean street machine, The GMC Sprint is finally emerging from the El Camino's long shadow, claiming its spot as a cool collector's find. If you could bring back one '70s car with modern upgrades, which would it be? VW's Utilitarian Thing. Affectionately known as the Thing, the Volkswagen Type 181 ranks among the most peculiar vehicles VW offered in the latter half of the 20th century. Initially designed as a light military vehicle for European armies, the Type 181 was a tough, no-frills machine characterized by its distinctively boxy appearance. It shared many mechanical bits with the iconic Beetle, including the air-cooled flat-four engine and basic suspension setup. Yet, its bare-bones, military-esque look was a world away from the gentle curves of Volkswagen's more popular passenger cars. When it landed stateside in the early 70s, the Type 181 certainly stood out, catching the eye of adventurous types seeking something truly different. It wasn't exactly a mainstream hit back then, but its cult status has grown considerably over the years. Nicely restored examples now command strong prices, and enthusiasts delight in modifying them for fun off-road excursions. Should you stumble upon one in good shape, be prepared to shell out a decent sum for this wonderfully weird slice of VW history. Subaru's Quirky Brat. The Subaru Brat, short for Bi-Drive Recreational All-Terrain Transporter, was a peculiar yet clever take on the small truck concept. Conceived as a compact utility runabout, the Brat clearly drew some inspiration from the Chevy El Camino, but incorporated Subaru's unique engineering, most notably its boxer four-cylinder engine and standard all-wheel drive system. These elements gave the Brat surprising capability, providing an advantage in slippery or off-road situations where similar vehicles might falter. One of its strangest, yet most defining, features was the pair of rearward-facing jump seats bolted into the cargo bed. This allowed Subaru to classify it as a passenger car, cleverly sidestepping the hefty import taxes levied on trucks at the time. While the Brat didn't become a massive seller initially, it steadily built a loyal fan base. Today, it's a prized collectible, particularly among off-roaders and adventure seekers who appreciate its unique style, solid mechanicals, and impressive go-anywhere attitude. The iconic Country Squire wagon. For many years, the Ford Country Squire was the absolute definition of the classic American family station wagon. Sporting that unmistakable fake wood paneling down its sides, a long profile, and a truly cavernous interior, it perfectly captured the heyday of wagons. This full-size hauler could comfortably seat up to 9 people, making it the vehicle of choice for countless family road trips, summer vacations, and everyday suburban duties. The Country Squire cemented its place in pop culture history, notably through its memorable appearance in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where it was both admired and hilariously mocked. Once largely ignored by car collectors, the Country Squire is now finding increased appreciation, especially among those feeling nostalgic for traditional American wagons. As SUVs and crossovers have taken over roads, vintage wagons like the Country Squire evoke a cherished, bygone era of automotive style. Well-kept examples are becoming more valuable as enthusiasts rediscover their unique charm, practicality, and status as a genuine piece of Americana. Mercury's shifting Cougar. The Mercury Cougar underwent quite a few identity changes throughout the 1970s, seemingly struggling to find its distinct niche within the broader Ford Motor Company family. Originally launched as a more luxurious counterpart to the Ford Mustang, the earliest Cougars shared significant mechanical DNA with Ford's famed pony car. However, by the mid-70s, the Cougar pivoted towards a larger, plusher design, distancing itself considerably from its sportier origins. That longer front end, abundance of chrome trim, and cushy interior clearly marked a move from muscle car territory into the personal luxury coupe class, a change that definitely divided opinions among car fans. This evolution certainly made the Cougar noticeable, though maybe not always for the best reasons. It lost some of the raw excitement of its earlier iterations, and Mercury sometimes found it challenging to market effectively. Despite these struggles, the Cougar has earned more respect in recent years. Collectors now appreciate its Mustang-derived foundation and unique styling cues, particularly on models equipped with the more powerful V8 engine options. Even though it might have experienced an identity crisis back in the 70s, today's Cougar is seen as a distinctive classic with steadily increasing appeal. Opel's Baby Vette GT. Frequently called the Baby Vette, the Opel GT unmistakably borrowed styling cues from the Chevrolet Corvette, and it's easy to see why. With its flowing body lines, cool pop-up headlights, and low, sporty profile, the visual connection to America's favorite sports car was pretty obvious. Despite being built in Europe by GM's German division, the Opel GT actually offered a performance feel that made it quite fun to drive. Its lightweight construction, combined with a responsive engine, resulted in an engaging driving dynamic that was surprisingly competitive with some sports cars from that period. Unfortunately, timing worked against it. The fuel crisis of the 1970s pushed consumers toward more economical vehicles, and the Opel GT's price point made it a harder sell against cheaper options. Consequently, it never achieved widespread sales success during its production run. These days, however, the car is widely recognized as a fantastic hidden gem among classic sports car aficionados. Thanks to its striking Corvette-like appearance and agile handling, the Opel GT is now a desirable collector's car, offering vintage thrills often at a more affordable price. What's your favorite underrated car from the 1970s that we didn't mention? Ford's El Camino rival, Ranchero. In the constant battle among America's big automakers, Ford rolled out the Ranchero specifically to compete head-to-head with Chevrolet's popular El Camino. While both machines embraced the same unusual car-truck hybrid concept, the Ranchero often had trouble establishing its own strong identity in the market. It frequently trailed the El Camino when it came to available horsepower, overall reliability ratings, and general buyer enthusiasm. Its design, though certainly unique, just didn't seem to click with customers quite as effectively as its rival from Chevy. Because of this, the Ranchero mostly operated in the El Camino's shadow throughout its lifespan. However, the years have been increasingly favorable to this distinctive Ford creation. More recently, collectors and custom car builders have shown renewed interest in the Ranchero, causing its market value to gradually rise. With a modern V8 engine swapped in, a Ranchero can be transformed into a seriously cool muscle machine guaranteed to attract attention at any car show. For enthusiasts seeking a classic Ford with an unconventional twist, the Ranchero is rapidly becoming a very desirable find. Cadillac's luxurious Coupe de Ville. The Cadillac Coupe de Ville from the 1970s truly epitomized peak American automotive luxury, belonging to an era where sheer size, ultimate comfort, and commanding presence were prioritized far above fuel economy. Boasting enormous overall dimensions, an impressively long hood, and an exceptionally plush interior, the Coupe de Ville simply radiated status and high-end sophistication. It was engineered for smooth, effortless highway cruising, providing a serene ride quality paired with a powerful V8 engine that delivered authoritative performance on the open road. However, when the mid-decade fuel crisis struck, consumer appetite for such huge luxury vehicles started to wane, prompting GM to downsize subsequent models. Despite that market shift, the classic 70s Coupe de Ville endures as a true icon among car collectors today. Its bold, unmistakable styling, signature Cadillac front grille, and sheer imposing presence on the road have cemented its status as a sought-after vintage automobile. Locating a well-preserved example these days is getting tougher, and consequently, prices continue to appreciate. As modern luxury vehicles increasingly focus on efficiency rather than outright grandeur, the Coupe de Ville stands tall as a magnificent symbol of an era unlikely to ever be repeated, a genuine American land yacht. BMW's game-changing 3.0C. The BMW E30 3.0C was truly revolutionary back in the 1970s, signaling BMW's emergence as a formidable player in the high-end performance sedan category. During a period when American roads were largely populated by oversized, floaty luxury cars, the E3 made a distinct impression with its clean, sophisticated European aesthetics and meticulous engineering. Driven by a smooth 3.0-liter inline-six engine, it offered remarkable performance for its day, expertly mixing speed with a level of refinement that few contemporary cars could actually achieve. This particular model was instrumental in forging BMW's performance-oriented image and directly helped establish the foundation for the brand's enduring tagline, "The ultimate driving machine." Featuring responsive handling, a superbly balanced chassis, and a genuinely rewarding driving feel, the 3.0C was significantly ahead of its competition technologically. Once a somewhat overlooked classic sedan, its collectible value has been consistently rising as enthusiasts increasingly acknowledge its historical importance and driving pleasure. Plymouth's forgotten aero truck. While Plymouth is predominantly remembered today for its powerful muscle cars like the Roadrunner and Barracuda, many forget the brand briefly dabbled in the compact pickup truck market with the Plymouth Arrow. Essentially based on the Mitsubishi Forte pickup and closely related to the Dodge D50, the Arrow represented a fairly unique offering during a time when small trucks were starting to gain popularity in the US. It sported distinct Plymouth branding, a somewhat aggressive design for its class, and came equipped with a fuel-efficient four-cylinder engine, making it well-suited for lighter hauling tasks and navigating city streets. Despite its inherent practicality, the Arrow pickup never really achieved broad recognition, largely because the Plymouth brand itself was so strongly linked with high-performance cars. However, following the discontinuation of the entire Plymouth marque back in 2001, nearly all surviving Plymouth vehicles have naturally gained some level of collectability, and the Arrow truck is certainly no exception. With most examples having vanished over the years due to age and typical truck use, finding one today is quite rare, making them highly prized by dedicated Mopar enthusiasts. Spotting one now offers a cool glimpse into a lesser-known chapter of Plymouth's varied history. Citroen's innovative SM. Very few automobiles represent radical innovation quite like the remarkable Citroën SM did. Introduced in the early 1970s, this incredibly sleek, grand, touring car masterfully blended truly cutting-edge automotive technology with highly avant-garde French design, establishing it as one of the most unique luxury vehicles of its entire era. It famously utilized a complex hydropneumatic suspension system, powered by pressurized fluid, which produced an exceptionally smooth, almost magical ride quality unlike almost anything else on the road. Furthermore, the SM came equipped with advanced features like self-leveling headlights that turned with the steering wheel, variable assist power steering, and was powered by a potent Maserati V6 engine, an unusual, yet thrilling fusion of sophisticated French engineering and exciting Italian performance. Despite its technical brilliance and stunning looks, the SM faced challenges finding success in the United States market, primarily due to increasingly strict safety regulations and Citroën's eventual decision to withdraw from North America altogether. Nevertheless, its impressive legacy has only continued to strengthen over time. Prominent automotive enthusiasts, including noted collector Jay Leno, fully recognize its significant place in automotive history, and its market value keeps climbing steadily. With its undeniably futuristic appearance and groundbreaking technology, the Citroën SM stands as a rare and utterly captivating example of bold automotive thinking. So what do you think? Did I miss any iconic 70s cars that deserve the spotlight? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into automotive history, check out the rest of our videos in this series. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share Gold Days USA with fellow car enthusiasts. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more nostalgic content.